This is yours truly, Charles Prosper, your consistency success coach. And I want to ask you a question. What are the two most important components of consistency? Okay, if you haven't already guessed, the two most important components of consistency are patience and persistence. In fact, if you can imagine that consistency is a horse-drawn carriage, then the two horses that pull this consistency carriage would be patience and persistence. And in this installment, I will illustrate for you and highlight for you the importance of being conscious that patience and persistence are the driving force which pull consistency forward. Okay, let's take a look. Hello, my friend. If you can imagine for a moment that consistency, metaphorically speaking, is a horse-drawn carriage, then it would be easy for you to imagine that the horses that draw the carriage of consistency are patience and persistence. And that's the title of this particular installment. Consistency is pulled by patience and persistence. You see, immediate results cannot coexist with consistency. The greatest drawback to consistency is impatience. Consistency can only be experienced over time. Time is the co-worker of consistency. Given enough time, you can not only see consistency, but consistency becomes stronger with each repetition. Stages have to be passed and thresholds have to be reached. A body at rest tends to stay at rest until acted upon by an outside force. So says Newton's first law of motion. This is to say that any new habit that is to be formed must overcome the inertia or resistance to move in the opposite direction. In a sense, if you are moving to the left, metaphorically speaking, the movement to the right is at rest. The movement to the right is inert relative to the movement to the left. There is resistance to move right, and the outside force which changes directions is a combination of decision, determination, and persistence. Once inertia is broken, momentum takes over and consistency becomes easier and easier, providing that you persist. Persistence, thus, is repeated and regulated daily by choice, doing the same thing over and over, which is designed to move you closer and closer to your ultimate goal. You know, there was a book that I read many years ago, way back in 1966. The book was about Aikido, the Japanese martial art that involves non-resistance. But this particular book was called Aikido in Daily Life, explaining how to use the concepts of Aikido in daily living. And this book was written by Koichi Tohei and first published in 1966 by Riguge Publishing House. And the author gave what I thought was a perfect example of how change, persistence, and consistency takes place. In fact, this particular section, I'm calling it "One Drop of Water Won't Change a Tea's Color." On page 124 of this book, Tohei explains the process of how bad habits are changed to good habits by giving oneself the correct subconscious suggestions over time. He writes, "One drop of clear water added to a cup of tea will change neither its color nor its taste. 2 drops will do little more. But if drop by drop we continue to add water, both the color and the flavor will alter." People generally leap to the conclusion that because 1 or 2 drops of effort cannot change the subconscious, it is impossible to change it. The truth is that just as with the cup of tea, if we continue the effort, it will alter. There is great simplicity and elegance in this explanation. I want to give you a suggestion when you have a particular project or goal to achieve that requires time and routine, patience, and persistence. I would submit for you to give yourself a 30-day consistency challenge. So, when embarking upon a big-time goal, what has to be done may create a sense of overwhelm. There is a problem by projecting too much into the future in an attempt to visualize the long road ahead. When overwhelm sets in, so does procrastination. And unlike some would mistakenly believe, procrastination has nothing to do with laziness or lack of ambition. Procrastination has everything to do with fear. The fear of being unable to carry it out. The fear of being too much to handle. The fear of overwhelm. If you are a regular reader of motivation style books, you may have heard the answer to this question. Well, here it goes. Stay with me on this one. Do you know how to eat an elephant? Okay. The answer is bite by bite. I have a love for pachyderms like everybody else. And this cheesy question and answer is meant to illustrate the principle of gradualness. So we embrace the 30-day consistency challenge. I would recommend that when you have made a decision to make a lifestyle change, which may require some sacrifice and discipline, to attempt to commit totally to the idea all at once. If your major goal may involve a 3-year gestation period, commit to only 30 days of this new change. You can even break this 30-day challenge into 4 separate weeks. Set a goal of just completing 1 week. Once you complete the first week, commit to completing the second week, and so on and so forth until you reach week number 4. If at any time you miss a day in this 30-day trial period, start all over again by counting from day 1 of a new 30-day trial. The second round should be even easier because you probably have managed to put in at least a few days or a few weeks. The key word is intention, focus, and the willingness to begin again if necessary. With this approach, you will do 30 consecutive days without missing, and you will be well on your way in establishing a new habit and a new way of life. Now, I want to also make a point when you are programming a particular goal to go over a course of a certain period of time, let's say 30 days or so. I say that unscheduled free time compromises consistency. And let me explain what I mean. I remember when I was in graduate school that I accomplished more when I had to plan my time with a strict routine of multiple assignments to complete than when I was on a 3-week vacation with lots of free time to schedule whenever I wanted to and how much I wanted to. Too much unstructured time leads to more time wasted than when there's a tight schedule. I believe that the reason for this is that because we usually can only appreciate the value of time by comparison. You are more likely to waste time if you assume that you have the next 10 years to begin an important task than if you knew that you only had the next 10 days to live. When you work at a 9 to 5 that provides you with marginal job satisfaction, you are more likely to look forward to and value your 2-day weekend. A 2-day weekend after working all week can seem more delicious than paid retirement when you are not obligated to do anything at all and have no particular goals in which you're focusing on. The message here is clear. Unscheduled free time is anathema, and structured, goal-oriented, and well-planned time is productive, creative, and satisfying. We want to see results which will reinforce our consistency. We plan, motivate ourselves, and do what is necessary to see results. Results are what feed the fire of persistence. The better you plan, the more you persist, while remaining consistent, of course, the more results you will see. Results perpetuate the cycle of success, for again, you will persist, remain consistent, and then see even more results. So in summary, remember that consistency is predicated on patience and persistence.
Okay, so now you understand that consistency is predicated on the force of patience and persistence. They work together so that consistency can move forward. Now, before I go, I would like to invite you to my community of consistent-minded people where we help each other stay focused and consistent to achieve our particular goal. This community is the Prosper Consistency Success membership site, where you will have access to members who will help you to stay focused to achieve your goal by you having access to accountability partners who will work with you to help you stay focused, as you will be assigned to a member as their accountability partner to help them stay focused to achieve their goal. Additionally, there will be live coaching calls so you can call in and get answers to whatever problems or questions that you may have on your path of achieving your goal through consistency. So I would invite you right now to go to www.consistencysuccesscoach.com, and you will be glad that you did. Also, might I remind you that I put out daily consistent content on the subject of consistency so that you don't miss out on any of the installments that come up. I would invite you right now to like and subscribe so that you can be privy to all of the new videos that come out on the subject of consistency. So, with that, as I like to say before I leave you until the next time, stay consistent and be successful.